Hi,
Hello.
Robert. Hi, Robert. You got your password fixed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. It's always the one I've always used, but it wouldn't take it today for some reason.
Must be Erik. Just kidding.
Let's see. Is the light okay?
Yeah, we can't blame him on I mean, you're a little dark, but it's good enough. Do people really want to see your face anyway?
Not really. I don't. I wouldn't want to.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I should like make my face dark too, just to give people a
Yeah,
break.
I need
Give
to get
people
a
a
light
break.
that's better.
Yeah. Now you don't have to. All right. First, I want to say hi to you and hi to Erik.
Hello, Eric says hi, Mom.
Hi, baby. How you doing?
He said I'm fan-fucking-tastic.
Of course he is. Awesome. Who wouldn't be there? I kind of been like, okay, I've been feeling like I'm fat now, so I had to like start on my treadmill again, which I hate. I mean, I hate exercise. I don't like hearing the sound of my own panting. It's just awful. So it's true, and so yeah. But anyway, so what makes it easier is for me to like watch things on TV, so I get my mind off of it. And so I was watching Ancient Aliens, and I thought it was kind of interesting some of the things that about the pyramids, or actually specifically the Sphinx. And we talked about the pyramids before, but we haven't really talked about the Sphinx. Well, what is he saying?
Nothing. He's just making a crude joke.
And you can share with the class, or can you?
He just when you said Sphinx, he just said, "Oh, sphincter." So I was like, he does this stuff to distract me. I'm trying to listen to you,
I know.
him at the same time, and then he says something that's completely opposite of what's going on, which means if the conversation is serious, then he's saying something not serious,
Oh yeah.
which creates this like imbalance. So it throws me in two places at
Of
once.
course it does. But hey, it's a dirty job channeling Erik, but somebody's got to do it. So
Well, I guess that's why I use that word.
I guess so. All right. So look, who built the Sphinx? The sphincter. Now, who built the Sphinx? Erik.
Eric said the Egyptians did.
Did they have any help?
I'm sorry, he just keeps saying no, tell her no. No,
What?
not from aliens anyway.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's possible. Now the
Not in
head.
that case. Not in that case, he said.
Oh, okay. Well, they're saying that the head of the Sphinx is kind of small compared to the body. So
Mm-hmm.
they're thinking it was a bigger head, and they just carved it down. It probably was the dog or jackal Osiris, and that they eventually just carved it down to look like the pharaoh. His name starts with a C, but I cannot
Right.
remember. Cadre or something like that.
He said it was built for a pharaoh, is what he said, so you're just relaying that. He said that.
But was it built as Osiris? And there's a reason I'm asking this, so I want to make sure, Erik, you're really accurate.
Oh, no. Well, first he was telling me about something else. He said that they went through four iterations of the head,
Oh,
and it changed based on. Well, like the first one, it was because it was too big, too heavy. Somebody said, though, that's going to eventually break off. They changed that.
okay.
And then the other three were because of. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like he shows me this visual of. Like it was to pay homage to different people.
Oh, okay. Well, what the ancient alien historians say is that it was built like in the golden age of Egypt, which is 12.5 thousand years ago, and that it really started out as depiction of Osiris, who apparently was an ancient alien who
Mhm.
had, well, depicted as the head of a dog, and even the body of it's supposed to be a lion, but they looked at lion bodies biologically, it's just not the same the way it's shaped, so it's more like the shape of a jackal or a
I was
dog.
just getting ready to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. He said it was a jackal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was it
Because they're
was
agile and cunning.
was the original one a depiction of Osiris?
Right. But the first one, that was the big head. but he says it was too big, and they took it off because the engineer said it was not going to be stable, like long term, it would fall off.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, that was the original intent. It was.
Okay.
Eric says it was more of a deity to them than an actual like being, like an alien who was a deity. They worshiped things that they didn't understand or were different from them as gods. Anything they didn't understand that they saw as themselves being humble to,
Mm-hmm.
they put it on a pedestal as a god, he said.
Ah. What did they think that Osiris was then, beside a god? Yeah, that's what.
But he just said keeper of the earth.
Ah, okay. Can you elaborate, Erik?
He said there to keep things in balance, to teach human beings that everything requires balance. He was showing me visual, so I was trying to like keep up with what he was doing because he does this a lot of times. I think everybody else has said this, where he goes really, really fast, and then I'm like, oh.
I know.
So anyway, so he showed me this visual of like the earth, like human beings, like doing all their things, just taking things for granted, and then everything gets all out of balance, and then human beings start to become threatened because of that. But then so does a lot of other life on the planet. So Osiris was about trying to keep that stuff in harmony, and sometimes that requires controlling others who are not necessarily ready to be able to do that, like having a leader that guides other people. And he said that's what Osiris was meant to represent. That hierarchy for human beings up to a certain point in their evolution is required because it helps everyone else to catch up, make everyone else like homogenous in a sense, from a philosophy of how to keep things in balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, tell me about the golden age, like 12.5 thousand years ago in Egypt. That's prehistory. So tell me about that civilization. They say that aliens, walked among the people then, including Osiris and all that. But I want details from you, Erik.
He said they used gold for a lot of stuff, like for medicine and stuff. Gold, really?
I've heard that the aliens needed gold for some reason.
Yeah.
In exchange, they helped the humans. But I'm drinking that Jack and Coke. You like it?
Right.
No, it's Shaga tea.
I have electrolytes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, go on.
Okay, he was talking about how gold was being used not just to be an ornament, like ornamental, but it was used for like in medicine.
I think the aliens had to use it to help their planet and something about, and I may be wrong, but that they had to have gold to help their planet survive environmentally or something. So
he said that it's more of a conductor. It's a type of conductor.
Okay. So
they use it. It was used for that.
What specifically?
I was just asking Erik, are these really aliens we're talking about, or is this just other human beings that were maybe different from Egyptians? Okay, he said, yeah, they were really aliens.
I believe it.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to listen to what Erik says. He said, yes, they were really aliens. Okay.
All right. So they
had big heads, he said.
So they came here to look for gold for whatever reasons, maybe to help their own planet too.
Yeah, he says it was more of a semiconductor, like what we would call a semiconductor. They knew of how to tap in. Well, they had other technology that when you add gold to it, in some way, it has properties that human beings don't yet know how to tap into.
Ah. All right, well, tell me more about the Golden Age.
He says it was very similar to how it is now. Not in the sense of technologically, but in that human beings were awakening to a lot of things. he's just showing me a lot of stuff that's happening like culturally. So like I'm sorry, he's showing me a whole lot of stuff.
Eric, use words. Use your words, Eric.
Yeah, I know. Like psychology, like they're like people were they were doing psychology then.
Wow.
Um, like the gold, he said, would you be used in people's teeth,
Mm-hmm.
like fillings? I'm sorry, he just said, check out my grill. Sorry. And then he smiled and he had these gold teeth.
Oh no.
Wait, but I saw it like in someone's molar.
Okay.
They would even inject it under the skin? Really?
Wow. Ew. So gold was a
That
big
just
deal.
seems crazy. I mean, he was saying that they would do it for like infections and for like, but sometimes for pain. Like they would use
Wow.
tattoos that sometimes it had gold in it, sometimes it didn't. It had some kind of a plant stuff material in it. Anyway, there was a lot of like what you could consider. He says it would be almost like an age of holistic, like a golden age for holistic type stuff, because there
Wow.
was a lot of natural stuff that went on. Because they didn't have they didn't have any way of creating something artificial the way we do now.
Yeah.
So it was a lot about that. We were on the cusp, he says, of from a civilization perspective of like uniting the whole area, because there was a lot of like unification going on. There was a lot of trading between other different areas, and
Okay.
everybody was starting to kind of mix and mingle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, but he says it all fell apart because human beings at that time were not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
He says a lot of times what we do is we'll plant the seeds for something that will later happen when human beings on a more global level are ready for it. At that time, that was more a localized thing. It wasn't a unification of the whole globe because we didn't have the technology to be able to do that yet.
Yeah.
So we created this little small seed, so to speak, that kind of plants that in human beings' DNA. And then when the technology and everything else and human beings have gotten to a certain point, like a critical mass, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
all that will start to come out.
Okay.
And then it will be more, what's the word? Long lasting, basically. It won't just like all of a sudden crater.
Yeah. Interesting.
Eric says it feels like that's what's getting ready to happen again. For some people, they believe that the world is getting ready to crash in on itself. Now, weather-wise and stuff, Eric says, and how the environment is changing, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because human beings are ready to handle it. If this has happened on a global scale 12,000 years ago, humans would have gone extinct.
Oh. So what's the biggest advancement of that
Nearly.
golden age?
Really gone extinct.
What's the biggest?
He said the biggest advance would be awakening our, it's spiritually inclined, like planting the seeds for our expanded awareness that was to come in the future.
Can you be more detailed? Because people don't know a lot of people don't know what expanded awareness really signifies.
Realizing that there's more than what you see in front of you.
Okay.
That there are things that we might call magic or things that we can't measure. And, but they are real.
Yeah.
And the only reason we can't describe them or quantify them or whatever, Mom, is because, we just aren't there yet.
Yeah.
Does not mean that it's not real. Rick says, this, because you've said this several times, people go around and they talk about things that they get, intuitively or from their own observations, but they have no way of proving it. And then later on, it ends up becoming proven.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you, a lot of people want to know what's under the paw of the Great Sphinx. They've tried to dig, but then something happened. They were afraid of the structural, integrity of the monument. So
there's like a cube box, like an open like a square room.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's not really big. And there's like trinkets in it. Like the first thing I heard was an amulet.
Okay.
but I associate that with it's a bunch of trinkets.
But yeah, some people say that the Atlanteans, when they were about to go under, they needed to preserve prehistory, the recording, with the Book of Records, and that is one of the places that the Book of Records is housed. Is that true?
Eric says, in a sense, it's true because it's not necessarily associated with the Atlanteans. He says, not like directly.
Edward Casey. This is from Edward Casey, but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. He says it's more of a metaphor for ancient history. So sure, there was a lot of the stuff that's in there is from older civilizations that pharaohs and things when they traveled and gone to places and stuff, and when they've had trading between groups, things that everyone considered valuable, or whoever it was that built that, the people that built that, the stuff that they considered valuable, they stored in there. It was meant to be a time capsule, he said.
Okay, that makes sense. So it is a book of records in a way, but not like a bunch of books with like Sumerian writing or whatever.
It's not like the Da Vinci Code where, or like the Ark of the Covenant or something like that, where it's a magical thing. It's really more of a, he says,
like a time capsule.
Yeah, like a time capsule of things that people revered at the time.
What, did the Atlanteans have anything to do with it?
He said, when I'm talking about that, I mean they loosely did. Right? They weren't like right there when they were building the Sphinx, and they said, and then they influenced it, and they said put all this stuff in there, books. No, it's like they've come in contact with them over history, and then they acquired things that group had, and then things from other groups that people aren't even aware of that existed.
Okay.
And so things that would be considered rare and precious, and not necessarily because it was made out of gold or some rare material, but because of the history of it.
The history behind it, yeah.
Yeah. There was a book in there, though, he said. He just showed a book that looks like it's made out of, I've heard this word before, papyrus.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it looks like, real thick pages, and it's, I don't know, or you can't probably tell on the screen, but it's about like that big.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And a lot of the writing is,
well, you
can't see it.
What is it? What information does it have?
It was part of it is a written history of different people who were in power, of groups to be aware of some of it's scientific, like based on what people had observed.
Mm-hmm.
There was early languages too. He showed me that, like languages that only existed for a little while.
Interesting.
3 languages.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. He also just brought something up about, like, one of the groups that he was talking about, you mentioned the Atlanteans. One of the other groups that came into the picture, but I didn't think they would have done this that long ago, but I guess maybe they did, was like Asian culture.
Oh.
Like Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
They were considered very exotic to the people in the region.
Okay.
They came there. How did they get there? I don't know, but I guess they were there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I see this visual of a guy in like robes, right, with a little hat that's kind of like I don't know what the word is. It's kind of like this. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? Like that?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like that.
It looks like Curious George's master.
Well,
his hat. The man in the yellow hat or whatever.
Like a dome with a rounded top at the top.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not like a dunce hat.
Okay. Now, when will we find the stuff under the paw?
When will we find it?
Yeah. Why don't we just freaking dig that shit up now?
Seriously? Erik says that the only way we'll get to it physically is if something happens to the Sphinx to break it open.
Oh, awful.
But that doesn't mean we'll never get to it. He says that eventually we'll develop technology to be able to see into it.
Okay, that's
and
fine.
explore it without actually damaging it because it's part of history.
Yeah.
Human beings, he says, we like to we hold things in reverence,
Oh
material
yeah.
things, you know,
Yeah.
because like especially like the Sphinx, he says, Mom, you know, there's thousands upon thousands of years of history with it,
Mm.
and the object itself reminds us of that history.
Now they say on Mars, when the Land Rover, whatever, not Land Rover, but whatever, the little little thing, you know, the remote control car or whatever, went around there, found evidence that could be the mirror image of Necropolis with the three pyramids of Giza and even a Sphinx. Is
Mhm.
that the case?
Eric says what they're referring to there is Mars had water on it. It carved caves and openings everywhere
Oh
inside.
yeah.
This is what they're seeing.
But some people say aliens created canals to divert water from the poles to other parts of the planet.
Eric said, "That's true, Mom, but what I was talking about just now,
Hmm.
that particular example, this was all naturally occurring.
Okay.
Aliens were there a long, long time ago, billions of years ago,
Wow.
before Earth was able to be inhabited.
Wow.
Mars was habitable for a period of time.
So it had an atmosphere before.
Yeah, it had an atmosphere. It was a
Hmm.
little thinner than Earth's, he said, a little cooler than Earth's.
Hmm.
It didn't have like a lot of plants,
Hmm.
a few of them. Most of them were imported. What happened on Mars is what made Earth possible.
What happened?
Mars, he says, was inhabitable for probably about 15 million years.
Okay.
Uh,
This is a pretty good run.
yeah, not compared to Earth, but anyway, Mars was there. Okay, so anyway, he shows like a big, like a rock, like an asteroid, because Mars is not quite protected the way Earth is
Okay.
from debris. It's actually a little more open to receiving it, I guess, because of the way its path is around the sun.
Okay.
Anyway, a big rock hit it
Oh
long,
yeah.
long time ago. Blew off a lot of
Not good.
debris, but this happened more than once,
Mm.
and a lot of it hit on Earth. And some of the material that was in that, because Mars had organic material in it, set it up for Earth.
Ah, for life on Earth.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Earth had already been slightly, he says, infused with some of that. It
Hmm.
just needed more of it to
Okay.
help take hold.
Well, I mean, what
Mars,
is there a mirror of the necropolis on Mars? You know,
uh,
the three pyramids and the Sphinx.
he said no.
Okay, because I thought that could be the Sphinx could have been the guardian of the subterranean terranean entrance on Mars. Like really, they like when I guess when the atmosphere started to go, they lived subterraneanly,
Mhm.
and so well, does that exist? Is there this subterranean
He said
part of
that
Mars?
the species that live there, they had the ability to leave when it was time to leave. They didn't get trapped there.
But
But
is
it
there the
doesn't.
subterranean? Was there a subterranean civilization?
He said, I'm sorry. He said at the southern pole.
Hmm.
That was, I don't know why that would be the warmest, but I guess 15 million, however long ago it was,
Okay.
billions of years ago, it would have probably been in a different trajectory. But that's where it is now. It's at the southern pole.
Okay.
He said, yes, you would find something. He says, I don't want to say it's exactly like the necropolis and it's a mirror image of that.
Okay.
But he said, I suppose you could say that it looks like its twin.
But then so there was no aliens or whatever Mars inhabitants that built three pyramids and a Sphinx to
Mm,
mirror the one on
no,
Earth.
he said no.
And is there a civilization living inside of Mars right now?
No, he said.
Was there?
There was billions
Okay.
of years ago.
All right. So was this for a while? And this is my last question, and we need to
Huh?
stop because we've gone so long. Was this a way station to Earth that Osiris, the alien, for example, would use to,
Like as in a stopping point?
Yeah. Like you stop off at Buc-ee's, get some beef
Right.
jerky,
It's like a
some
red stop.
some popcorn. Yeah.
He says it's
I
no,
love Buc-ee's, by the way. Go ahead.
he said Earth is like it's like one of those planets that this particular race, whichever one, Osiris is different from the ones that lived on Mars, like what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
Osiris, this is like someone else.
Okay.
Mars was long gone by then.
Oh, okay.
So this is like someone else, but but they are connected to him. They're like descendants of them, because this is how Osiris found Earth in the first place. It was because of Mars.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying this just it sounds crazy to me, but anyway,
Don't even think about it.
I'm like
Let it fly.
you
Let it fly.
Anyway,
And we used
my
to think
human
the earth was flat, so it's okay.
right. Anyway, yeah, that's true. I'm like going through that now. So basically, like what happened on Mars, they because they were pretty advanced, they were able to get this far. They had to have been quite advanced. They understand once a race eventually gets to the point where they can tell, not because they're like able to see through dimensions, although there is some of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to like tell based on like what is going on right now, what will happen in the future, right? So they knew Earth was going to become what it became, what it has become.
Okay.
And descendants of those people, that's how Osiris got here, was because of the whole thing that happened on Mars. They knew that Earth was going to eventually develop life and that it was going to be intelligent. And so Earth is looked at like a nursery, right? And they want to help, in a sense, raise or guide that species, but without too much interference,
Yeah.
The guide doesn't sit there and say, you do this and you do that and whatever.
No.
It's like a teacher, they offer, they do, like, for them, it's like, there are times when they're here with us, and they help guide us and set things in motion with our psychology and with our medical and all that stuff. But then they just let us go and do our own thing because we have to grow and do that on our own, because otherwise we'll become dependent as a species, and they don't want that.
So the aliens, Osiris, I guess being one of them, in 12.5 thousand BC, were here to guide us.
Right, they're here to guide.
Were they here to change us, like DNA wise?
Just this is the interesting thing about it. There has been some of that been going on, but DNA itself, like when you interject, one of them is here now.
Whoa!
He was just telling me. So he was explaining this to me. He was saying DNA itself, it can be molded based on what information is provided, and that information does not have to be provided through manipulation of it literally. Okay. It can be provided by words you use.
Really?
By the energy that you bring to an experience. That molds your DNA. He says because you yourself are an example of that. Your entire life has been molded by the experiences you have had. Robert is no different. A lot of the people watching this video, we're all exactly that way. Yeah. Our DNA changes because of that.
Interesting. Well, thought creates reality, and I guess
right.
Part of that reality is DNA. That's fascinating. Well, we have to close now because people don't have the attention span to go more than 30 minutes. So.
Oh, yeah.
I know I don't. But anyway, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Erik.
By the way, that was Osiris himself.
Oh! Hi, Osiris.
He just bowed.
How the hanging?
He said, I don't know that phrase.
Okay. Well, go Google it. You'll find out. Bye, everybody. Stay tuned for what follows.
Bye.
Bye.